Americans are really good at pointing out and complaining the problems with this country, but they are really bad at actually solving them. Because to solve problems, we need to act collectively. We need to organize. And Americans are exceptionally bad at organizing. And that is not an accident. See, Americans were actually trained to be bad at organizing. And this is most evident in this stat. The United States has the third lowest collective bargaining rate in the modern developed world. That means 12% of our workers actually belong to some sort of union as opposed to the 80+% in most of Europe. Now, why is that the case? Why would we be trained to be bad at organizing? Or how do we end up so bad at organizing? And it happens in three layers. The first layer is your brain. See, the human brain has a status quo bias and a loss aversion bias. That means we don't really want to rock the boat, especially if things are all right. If we're surviving day to day, our brains try and tell us don't change too much here. And change can look like a loss in our brains, even when it's a gain. So no one wants to step outside of their comfortable box, knock on their neighbor's door, and ask them if they want to get involved in something. Nobody wants to be the one to walk around their workplace and start up a union. And nobody wants to pay a $5 union fee, even though it's actually going to be a gain for them in the long haul. Organizing requires overcoming your own neurology. Layer two is game theory, right? The free rider problem. Why am I going to step out of my comfort zone for someone else if no one else is? I'm not going to sacrifice anything, my time, my livelihood, my privacy for what? For people that don't even know me? I mean, it sucks that these things are happening in Minneapolis and in Chicago, but hey, I'm safe, right? That's what I should think. What's happening right here in that thought pattern that I just presented to you is our culture of individualism superseding collectivism. Our knowledge, our perception of our fates being tied together is lost upon us, or at least we don't fully believe it. Or what's happening is we don't believe it enough, right? We know that this is happening to immigrants, and then you hear people say, well, eventually it's going to happen to black people. But do you believe it enough to get up out of your seat and take some action, to join an organization that's fighting against this? Now, the third layer is the part that we want to jump to first. That's the deliberate destruction part. That's laws like Taft-Hartley, right to work, or at-will employment, union busting. But it's also in more soft expressions, like at tech companies, they give you great, amazing benefits, right? They give you this fitness app, they give you unlimited PTO, which just means that they can tell you when you can and can't take vacations. They have nice couches and lounges and tell you that they're treating you so well. So when one disgruntled tech employee walks around and says, hey, we're smart people, we know that unionizing works, the non-union employees go, why would I rock the boat? I have everything I need through these benefits. So it does show up in softer ways. They try and make it feel impossible. All these things to make you feel like it's impossible. Meanwhile, saying what we have now is freedom. But here is the thing. When we actually organize, it works fast. You might not like this example, but take Bud Light in 2023. Conservatives organized a boycott of Bud Light over a partnership with someone named Dylan Mulvaney. I don't know who this is. The company ended up losing $1.4 billion in revenue. Sales dropped 25%, and they lost their spot as America's #1 beer to Modelo, who hasn't given that title back, by the way, and has reached a big partnership with the UFC, who works with that administration. Very weird. Anyway, Bud Light still hasn't recovered from this. Another example, UAW Auto Workers, also in 2023. They struck all three Detroit automakers at once. First time in history, 6 weeks long. They won $23 billion in gains, 25% raises. Starting wages jumped from $18 an hour to $30 an hour in 2023. It was so successful that Toyota and Honda immediately had to raise their raises just to keep up with the competition. And then, of course, you have Target in January 2025. When they rolled back DEI commitments, Pastor Jamal Bryant organized a boycott, a 40-day boycott during Lent. And you want to know what happened? Target stock fell from $142 to like $88 in just 4 months, from January to April. The stock fell roughly 57%. That was their biggest loss in 4 years. And it wasn't like every Black Baptist in America was participating in this boycott. About 200,000 people signed on. 200,000 people were able to have an effect like this. So yeah, what can you do?